What's up guys, Shane here from Fugatech 3D Printing. Today we're taking a look at TPU from MakeShaper. Welcome back everyone. So MakeShaper hit me up on YouTube and was like, hey, we like your channel, we like the way you do reviews, how about we send you some filament? I said, that'd be great, what could you send me? And it was TPU that they were talking about. Well, you know, fast forward 2 months, some filament shows up and they sent me 3 boxes. So they sent me a box of TPU, a box of PLA, and a box of PETG. So this is going to be the first video of reviewing their filament. And again, first this is going to be their Orange TPU. This orange looks amazing and I really hope this works out. Let's look at the box. Go from there. Right here, nice color sticker. The sticker actually wraps around to the side and this is actually the seal. There's no tape down here at the bottom to actually hold that down. But you know, MakeShaper, make anything, MakeShaper.com. And I want to just address their side panel here is pretty cool. So here on the side, they give you a lot of info. So they have the optimal print temp, the length of how much is on here. So 393 meters, that's really good to know if you're counting meters. So you could put a sticky note on here or you know, one of those white labels that you can just write on and just write how many meters you used, just round up a little, like you know, if you used 10.2 meters, just round up to 10.5 or round up to 11 and write that down the side of the spool and you know how much you used. That's really, really, really cool to know, and I commend that for putting that here on their box. So it gives you their hub diameter, spool diameter, and the spool thickness. So I guess if you're wondering, is this going to fit on my printer? Is this going to fit on my spool holder that I have? Well, it tells you right there, and then you know. So what else is there to wonder about? They get a lot number, which is really cool because if you have a bad, if you're getting a bunch of bad prints out of something, you're like, I don't know what's going on, I can't figure it out. Or if you have tangles, that's another big one there, which is super rare, but it does happen. You can hit them up and say, hey, MakeShaper or whoever, I've got this filament and it is lot number blah, and I'm getting all these issues. They might be like, well, hey, we had a bad batch come out. Why don't you just give us your address, we'll send you a new spool. I've seen that happen lots of times. I haven't seen it with MakeShaper. I actually haven't really seen their filament anywhere, but it could happen. So, and it's really good to know. And a lot of these companies, because they deal with filament, sending you another spool is not a big issue because they know something's screwed up and it shouldn't have been that way. So always keep that in mind when you get filament. Last but not least, check it out. We've got the awesome Made in USA sticker. So let's cut this open and take a look at the filament. Okay, so here we are, and right here just has MakeShaper, just has their sticker. It just gives you optimal print temp 220 to 245. It's TPU 1.75 millimeter, and it's orange. Same number on the back, and here on the side is the same lot number that was right here on the side of the box. So you don't even need to keep the box to know what your lot number was. It's right on the spool. So A1 guys, this is pretty great. In here we have 3 deskin packs, which is very interesting. You don't normally see that. And we just have a standard bag. So the desk kit there. Oh man, it's so spongy. I love flexible filament. I think it is the coolest thing since sliced bread. The fact that you can print things that are flexible, I mean, honestly, it's kind of mind-boggling, really, if you think about it. Like, they pour this stuff, the rubber, into something to make a mold, or they have a mold they pour it into, and bam, there's your part. But the fact that you can print things out of this, it's just, I mean, it's science. It's science. You know, needless to say, science is awesome. Again, this looks cool. It's nicely wound, fairly straight. Again, it does have some bounce to it, give to it, because again, this is a flexible filament. And this is, I mean, like, this is like rubber band or gum band for you Pittsburghers. You know, it's super duper flexible. So you really have to be careful how you print with this and what you're doing. Your speed has to be tremendously slow. I mean, ridiculously slow. We're talking 20, 15 millimeters a second, like real slow. Unless you have like a Flexi on, which a whole different story about that. But with my Titans, this will work, but you just got to print it really slow. And I'm ready to load this up, find some cool and awesome prints to print with this, and let's get to it. Okay, so I just want to say thanks again one more time to MakeShaper for sending me this filament. They contacted me via YouTube and said, hey, we like your stuff. Would you like to try out some more and learn some more? I said, absolutely. And here it is. So thank you guys. This was a crazy experience for me. Horrible results in the beginning, excellent results in the end. So let's take a look at them. So the very first model I printed obviously was my Maker coin. And if this gets annoying, let me know, guys. And it came out really, really stringy in the beginning, which, well, the whole print was stringy. I kind of knew that was going to happen because I didn't really know what my settings should be, per se, on getting this done. So I was able to clean it up, though, but you can still see it looks a little bit hairy, whatnot. And if we flip it over, the bottom on TPU filament comes out really nice. I mean, it's like a solid rubber layer. It's amazing. But going over the support, really rough. You really shouldn't use support with TPU, but I wanted to give it a shot to see how it went, and it did not turn out as well as I was hoping. So next I printed out a couple Starfish, and these were really cool models. I thought, oh, you know what? A flexible Starfish should be cool to see. The one here was my first attempt, and the one here was my second attempt to try and fix things, and as you can see, there's holes in the top layer. I made it worse. I tried printing it a little bit slower than what I was, which was 15 millimeters a second. I turned it down to 10 millimeters a second. That was bad simply because it was too hot and too slow, so it couldn't cool properly, and you get those holes in the top. So that was not great at all. After that, I tried some fan brackets, and these came out really well. I did do some retraction settings, not settings, but I did some testing to see how it went. So I figured out in Simplify 3D how to stop the extruder from going over any of the outlines, so that if there was any ooze, it's contained inside the print itself. And these are just some 40 millimeter rubber gaskets, we'll call them, for a 40 millimeter fan to try and help with noise. I'm actually going to use these on the FT5 for the fan on the Tri-Gorilla MOSFET. Okay, so next I tried a vase mode print, but I tried a bracelet, and I thought, you know what, a bracelet would be pretty cool because it stretches and can fit on your wrist. Now, I did post on social media a picture of this kind of gum banding around my wrist. Gum band is a Pittsburgh word, represent, and it turned out fantastic. So then I went ahead and made a little one. Well, I actually made several little ones, but my kids stole them all, and these are actually for my kids. So this one is actually for my 7-year-old, and they like it quite a lot, and she wants a pink one now, so I need some pink flexible filament. All right, so now we're getting somewhere. So my next thing here is a foot. Now this foot is for a 2020 extrusion, but scaled up drastically. So this was upscaled, I believe, 300 or 400% from what it was. So it went from being an M3 to now an M5 or M6. I think M5 is what ends up fitting in it well. And this is with 100% infill. And it came out really, really nice. I was a little far on my first layer, just a smidge, but that didn't really matter much because it stuck like a champ, and you can see the sheen from the lights as it goes around here. But it is very, very tough. You can see I can flex it just a little bit, but this would be great on the bottom of your 3D printer if you needed to print your own feet, anti-vibration feet. These would do wonders. And I printed this at such a high infill because I wanted to see if it would be able to take the weight of the FT5, and it does very well. So I started getting brave, and here is an iPhone 5 case, and it fits perfectly, except if we look here at the side real quick, see that line in the middle? That's not supposed to be there. I had a layer shift mid-print, and this is when I had exchanged my A4988 drivers for the TMC 2100 clones. Sadly, again, there was that layer shift in there. Even at such a low speed rate, that happened. But it does fit the phone still. It just wasn't as good as I was hoping. I did have a few strings. There's one here still on the button. And there were a few in here when it starts to go bridge back over, and you really have to perfect your bridging layers. You can still see there's a couple lines in there. But other than that, I was actually really happy with this, even though the bottom didn't turn out as perfect as I was hoping. And here we have a huge Starfish. So here is the original one right here compared to the giant one. And this one, again, I was able to have Simplify 3D print without crossing any of the outlines, so there were no retraction settings needed at all. So retraction is off in this print. The layer height is 0.3 millimeters, 2 perimeters, 4 top, 4 bottom layers with a 25% infill in rectilinear. So I did rectilinear just so the filament would not have to wiggle as much. There would be less stress on it as it was extruding. Tried to do the simplest thing I could, and this came out marvelous. I mean, look at the bend. The bend on this is great, and you can even squish it. I like it. And here we have a Hodor doorstop. So if you're not a Game of Thrones fan, I'm sorry, you're missing out on a greatness. And I'm not going to spoil it if you don't know what this means, but this is a Hodor doorstop. If you can't figure it out, the play on words end up speak for itself. But anyways, this again was just an amazing print. This is with a 30% infill, 2 perimeters, 3 top, 3 bottom on this one. But I did have some issues with the layers at 0.3. I'm not sure why this came out this way, but it was very inconsistent. I'm not sure if it was the filament or if it was my G-Tech. So this was printed on the G-Tech. Half of these are printed on the G-Tech, half of these are printed on the Fugatech FT5. They both use Titan extruders with E3D hot ends. The G-Tech is just obviously a clone, and the FT5 is authentic. Functional wise, it does exactly what it needs to do, but you can see the inconsistencies in there. Again, I'm not sure if that was just the filament tugging on the spool or what it was, but it bends like a champ, and it holds a door like no one's business. This last one, I can't use this. Okay, so this last model here is a vase. Well, it's a single perimeter vase that you can, squish, and it comes right back. Pretty close to it. It's really, really tall, so it doesn't come back as quickly as it should. And also, this is a TPU, and this TPU is like printing with a wet noodle. If you were using something like Semiflex filament, which is, what's that, TPE, or another type of TPU, I don't know, but either way, Semiflex, that would spring up much better than this would. You kind of have to play with my hand a little bit to get it to come back all the way, but you can see its jiggle here. This was 4 bottom layers, so to give it a nice bottom, but I mean, the glass sheen on that is just amazing, the finish you can get. This is printed onto BuildTack and Print-in-Z. So this was printed on BuildTack, and everything on my G-Tech was printed on the Print-in-Z build plate. I mean, it's basically a really, really thick BuildTack, in my opinion. But they both hold this stuff. I mean, immediately getting it off was brutal. You could also print this onto glass, which I did one of these original Starfish, and that came out really, really good. It stuck well, but I wanted to be sure that it would always stick, so that's why I switched my build surfaces. Also, just to give it a little bit of a chance, and I could not get this to stick to my print bite. So again, your mileage may vary. It might work for you, but it didn't work for me. But you saw the inconsistencies on the Hodor doorstop, but this has 0 inconsistencies whatsoever. There was not a blemish anywhere. This is in vase mode, obviously, but still, there was not a blemish anywhere on this. There was no under extruded layer. There was no any type of skipping at all. This ended up, I think, printing at 7 millimeters a second. What? I mean, that is just unbelievably slow, because Simplify 3D scales everything down when it's in vase mode, and when it is one layer takes less than 15 seconds, and one loop around this takes no time at all. I mean, this thing, what width-wise is at the widest 0.4, maybe 5 inches. It's really not that much, but it just came out to be a beautiful print, and I only did this to see how it would work. This obviously has 0 application for an actual vase, but it does hold water, which amazes me. It's just crazy awesome. And actually, I forgot I did have these. So for a practical print, these are really hard to see, but these are spacers. Now, I am going to also try using these on my Tri-Gorilla MOSFET for isolating the noise, because right now the noise resonates with the fan on it. So these are going to be kind of a shot to help isolate that sound, along with this thicker 40mm fan gasket, grommet, whatever you want to call it, shroud. Hopefully the combination of these things will help eliminate that noise. So with eliminating that noise, again, any flexible filament, not just TPU, any flexible filament has great practical applications for your life. And as you guys know, I always try and print at least one thing practical. I have the phone here, I have the feet, the bracelet is practical enough. I mean, you can wear it, it's cool. The gasket and these little standoffs, you know, spacers, great stuff. Also, if you're missing a spacer, you can print it in this, you can print it in PLA, whatever you want. But again, these are just awesome little things that you can print with this kind of filament. So this MakeShaper Orange TPU was excellent, aside from my own issues. Once, as you can see, once I finally got things dialed in, it actually worked flawlessly. In the beginning, I was really starting to worry if it was me or the filament, but then once I actually did some more research, and Angus ended up posting a video on his recommended settings for the TPE or for any flexible filament, which I actually did all of those recommendations on this large Starfish, and it was great. So I'll put a link to his video and I'll card it up here so you guys can see that. I mean, he had great recommendations. His recommendations don't work for every print out there, but if you have anything that is like a solid object, absolutely, his recommendations are spot on. That's it for this filament, guys. I highly recommend it. It was great. This color is amazing. They have lots of colors, so that has really going for them. A lot of people, even with PETGs and with the flexible filaments, black is like all anyone carries, and that's just ridiculous. You can go to MakeShaper website, lots of different colors, so please go check them out, and it's actually reasonably priced. I'm not going to quote prices because they might change, but you can find links to everything down below where you can buy it. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to MakeShaper for sending me the filament. It was a great learning experience for me, and really that's what this review really was me just learning. I'm actually recording this part almost a month after I did the opener, when I actually opened the filament, simply because I took my time, I read a ton, I did 1 or 2 prints every few days on the things that I had learned. I threw away a lot of filaments. I will say that Hodor, for some reason, I could not get the first layer to go down properly, and I printed him I printed this, I think 5 times. Also, I was trying to print it too fast. This is when I finally had to lower down my extrusion rate, my feed rate, extrusion rate, whatever you want to call it. My overall printing speed had to be lowered down to 15 millimeters per second in order to get this one to work. Some of these others I was able to print at 20 millimeters per second, but definitely no higher than that, simply because this TPU is extremely, extremely flexible. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Let me know down below why you didn't like it. You want to support the channel, lots of ways to do it. You can subscribe down here. You can help me out via Patreon. If you guys want to support my channel, lots of ways to do that. You can hit the subscribe button. You can hit the Patreon button. Donate me $1 more. Greatly appreciate it. Down below in the video description, there's going to be lots of different affiliate links. So please update your bookmarks. It doesn't cost you any more to use those affiliate links. Just a little slice comes my way with everything that you purchase with them. Everyone that uses those currently, thank you very much. That is a huge help to the channel. And until next time, guys, happy printing.